You are listening to the Archer and Pine podcast with Morgan and Mark.
And welcome back to the Archer and Pine podcast with Morgan and Mark. And Morgan, one of my favorite people, I'm so excited that we got a chance to work together, is Bashon. We know him, we call him Bash around here.
Oh, yes.
But Bashon, your book, Daddy's Love Notes, so inspirational and so special. But tell us, exactly how this came about. Now, were you an author before, or, was this your first book?
First, Mark and Morgan, thank you for having me with you guys today. It's a pleasure to speak with you. The book, it's amazing where things can generate from. This was a book, my first book, so I had never written anything of this magnitude before, and I never intended to actually write a book. The way this came about, as I was about to turn 40, I saw some other contemporaries on social media. They were using social media to sort of talk about, like, they're making these lists, like, oh, this is my top 40 this, or my favorite 40 things. And I thought it was a really neat idea to sort of capture that sort of milestone in your life of turning 40. But I wanted to be creative. I wanted to put a creative spin on it, an original spin. So I thought how I could incorporate my children into it. At the time, I'll be very open with you. I was struggling going through a divorce. So in terms of how that affected me, how it affected my children, I used social media as a way to sort of open myself up. I basically made my diary public. And I started writing these daily letters, these life lessons, which eventually became love notes, to my girls. And I wasn't trying to be too serious. I was just trying to actually be a little bit funny and talk about some of the things I had encountered in my young life, things that had opened my eyes, and where I was now, facing 40, what they meant to me. Over time, the first 40 days, it's consecutive, so I was writing a love note every day, and it built an audience. And then I started to realize, like, whoa, that, you never really know who's reading your stuff. And so I got into more and more people were saying to me, like, whoa, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. This is good stuff. And it still took a little while. But then I guess I don't want to take up all of your time here, but it eventually grew to the point where I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually make it into a book.
That's amazing. And we have the book, and we are so proud of you, and just how sincere and heartfelt the message is, and so we just want to just applaud you on that point. And so from there, you published the book, you self-published it, and so after that, what happened? What happened when you finished that book and you made it available for people to actually put their money down and get that exchange of commerce?
That's a very important piece of the puzzle. So when you don't, even if you know, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or when you arrive at that point to say, I'm going to actually publish a book and put it out there for people to consume, well, now you need to do your homework, and you actually figure out, like, the biggest piece of the pie is you don't know what you don't know. So going through the process of actually getting published and what that means, kind of like when you're buying a house, people are like, man, like, I don't know how to buy a house. But then when you actually go through the process, you realize, like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't so hard. You just have to do your homework. When I actually researched, and you have to do your research, you got to go out there and see what's the best avenue for which I can sell this book, get it out there in front of as many eyes as possible, and then what are the tools that I have to actually, maximize that bandwidth. So what social media tools are you using? Who do you know that can help you put that in front of different places? Like, it's not just Facebook. There's more things out there for you to get your word out. Hence, Archer Pine as one of those tools. So, I mean, you're going to slowly, it's not going to happen in one day. You have to sort of jump with both feet and say, okay, open up your eyes, take the blinders off. What are those avenues where I can put the book? And I found out, I mean, there were some tumbles that I took. And you know, this is your name. It's Bashon Mann that's sitting on the front of that book. So if it's, you know, if my product's going to be out there, don't do it halfway. You need to be all in, and you figure it out. If it's something that you're serious about, I mean, this is a book that I ultimately wrote to my children. You know, that's my blood. They're the most important thing to me. So anything worth doing is worth doing right, and I couldn't think of a better way to do that. So going and figuring out ways to, you know, maximize my dollars invested and getting a return. You have to figure all that out. If you're going to make a trip that involves, you know, a book signing and taking a train or taking a plane, or maybe you're just going to have to get behind the wheel of your own car so that it's cost effective. All of this stuff starts factoring in. And I think the biggest eye-opening thing for me was that Bashon Mann, the person, or Lieutenant Commander Bashon Mann, the Navy officer, became Bashon Mann, the author, and that means you're a business. So you need to necessarily understand when you have that hat on. So when you become that proprietor, things get very real really quick.
Wonderful. I mean,
Man, this is the come up.
I know.
Bashon. I mean, that's personal experience, Morgan. That's sweat. That's hard sweat, hard work right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
all
not
done,
a theory.
Done in uniform.
I know you all doing the work that you do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But when you take something on, if you're a small business owner out there and you're someone who has sweat equity in a project and you want to see it to fruition, I mean, these are the things you have to know. And there's going to be trial and error. It's just, no one has it. You know, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. So you need to then know what you're going to do. Okay, boom, you take that hit, now recoil and spring back. That's the cornerstone to a successful business. It's not saying that you're going to be an overnight sensation, and that's not realistic for most. But have a plan together. Know what you're going to do on the next step, and when you turn that corner, how you're going to be effective. And it's been a year this week that the book has been available, and I'm still in the process of, okay, how can I do this better, and how can, you know, maybe on the next reissue, what can I do differently, and how I can be successful. So
that's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, and so what's your goal? You know, because, you know, I saw you on Fox. I saw you on TV promoting your book and talking about it. You know, what's your ultimate, you know, dream for Daddy's Love Notes? Is it a series? You know, what
you know, I sat down. I'm not necessarily. I don't watch Oprah Super Soul Sunday all the time, but I do. I will pick up an old magazine if I see it lying around in the doctor's office or something like that. So, do I have a vision board? Yes, I do. And just one of those things on my vision board is actually sitting down with Oprah talking about Daddy's Love Notes. Like, I want to be on that level. I actually believe, I do believe this. Those letters, there's 60 letters in this first volume. I believe in every single one of them because that is something that has happened to me. And I took something and gave it here to not only to my daughters, but now I'm giving it out to whoever reads this book. And there's a lesson that comes at the end of every letter. Like, here's what here's what happened. I described it, and then at the end, here's what I gained from that experience. And I believe in that. I believe it's what made me the person that I am, and I believe it can help my daughters as they journey, you know, on their life.
What's interesting, Bashon, is, you know, being a military member. I mean, you're in the Navy.
Yes.
We can hear how you've taken your real life experience and then used it for a new experience. And I think that's important. You know, Morgan said something the other day. We were talking about business, and Morgan was saying how it's like you build a living, breathing thing. You know, when you
yes.
So this book is a living, breathing thing, or whatever you. And so you've taken a part of your life, and then and kind of projected this into another life that you created. Talk about how being in the military did prepare you as an entrepreneur.
Well, I think when you asked that question, I immediately thought to how I actually got into the military, but it doesn't. It doesn't get to the answer that you need. The military gave me. I mean, it just opened up a whole new world. I didn't intend that I was going to be in the military. I think the Navy and I sort of found one another. And then as I was going through the ranks, different doors, different windows started opening up for me. And it was, okay, are you going to step through? Do you have the courage to step through that door? Do you have the courage to step through that window of opportunity? And as I did, I saw more and more things opening up to me. And I think people, whether it's the military or whatever career they choose, as you start to see like I always imagine, I'll go out and I'll talk to people about the tool belt, and we each have this tool belt around our waist. And as we go through life, we're putting more and more tools in there. So at first you might just have a hammer and nail, and you can do things with that. But then you get a circular saw, at some point you get a screwdriver, you get a flathead or a Phillips head, and you have more and more tools that you're putting in there so you can build more things. There's more you can do with those tools. And so the Navy, once I started off enlisted, and then I went to OCS, Officer Candidate School, became an officer, and then there's just more and more opportunity open up for you, and there's more responsibility there. So now when you see that as you go through from one command to the next, whether you're in Afghanistan, whether you're in Haiti, whether you're in Singapore, wherever I have been, you start seeing, you look at yourself in the mirror. You ever walk past the mirror and you stop and look like, oh, wait, I've been working out. I look good in this. Well, it's the same thing with the tool belt. You walk past that mirror and you see that proverbial tool belt around you, and you're like, man, look at all these tools I have. Well, you've handled the responsibility. You've had these opportunities, and now you're gaining more self-confidence in yourself, and that's what the Navy has done for me. So when it came time to actually write the book, I knew that I could do it. It wasn't something like this daunting, there's no way I'll ever finish this or anything. No. You did this. You've been here. Mm-hmm. You handled this responsibility. So you can do this. Just push through. One of the biggest things we do as people is self-doubt. That's Shonda Rhimes in her Year of Yes. She just sat there and kept saying, oh, no, I can't do this. No, I don't want to do that. Well, stop saying no and start saying, yes, you can do things. And you'd be surprised how much your world starts to open up for you.
Sit down with Oprah. You might be Oprah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have a question for you, too. She might be.
She is.
Right.
We have meetings next week.
Okay.
Mark.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Bashon, we're so happy to have you on Archer and Pine, and your message and your story. We just want to help you, instill your vision and be as successful as you possibly can. And I want to know, what advice would you have to other authors, other people that have an idea, that want to put it out there, and they just think, well, maybe that self-doubt that you talk about, well, maybe no one would be interested in what I have to say. What would you say to someone who's looking for that extra push?
I usually direct towards being a father, but it's also, you can direct it to life, and that is being prepared, being purposeful, and being present. So be present in terms of someone that wants to be an author and put something out there. Will be present for yourself, okay? And that means allowing time to actually sit down and put your thoughts on paper or on your computer. Don't be afraid to do that. Be purposeful about it. If it's coming from within you have purpose, you value yourself. So your words have meaning, regardless of who you are. I was looking just yesterday. There was a gentleman, someone I admire here in D.C., was talking about. You're familiar with Cornell Belcher? I believe I'm saying his name right. Has a book out, Black Man in the White House. I believe it's dropping recently. But the gentleman was saying that, like, I would like to write a book, but I don't necessarily know what to say. And I immediately tweeted back at him, like, whoa. You're a black man and a father. Your voice, just in that, as a black man and a father, your voice in America has worth and value. So don't say that you don't have anything to say or you wish you had something to say. Say it. Say what's on your mind. It has meaning. And then just being prepared. Being prepared. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Okay, we got to do our homework. You have to take the time to sit down. You all sat down, you collaborated and said, Morgan was like, hey, look, Mark, I have this idea. I'd like you to be on board with me. Morgan, you had a vision. So you did the research to make it happen. You sat down when we had our first conversation. You actually enlightened me to the whole history of Oklahoma City and Black Wall Street. Like, that was something that I had only had cursory knowledge of. But you made me then go and do my own research so that I could have an understanding of it and gain that background. It's 2016. I'm a 43-year-old man just now getting that background. Okay, no problem, not to be discouraged, but now I know it. Now I have more to go to the table with. Be present, be purposeful, be prepared.
Bashon, listening to you, we hear like 4 more books in you,
I know, exactly.
And we're ready to go where you lead. So you are a leader of people, man. So we definitely are going to tap into that, and we're so excited about the journey right now on Archer and Pine. It's Daddy's Love Notes, Bashon Mann, the author. And, man, thank you so much for your time. We just are so excited about the growth that's going to happen. And, man, the future looks big.
Morgan, Mark, I am proud of you both for what you all are doing, and thank you for this opportunity. It really means a lot to me. I really want to thank you.
Thank you so much. That makes us feel really good. We're excited. More to come, Bashon.
Hey,
more to come.
You better believe it.
Archer and Pine, circulating the black dollar since 1921. Go to archerpine.com now.